Hey guys, it's Chantel, and once again I'm standing in front of my bookcase, but today we're going to do things a little differently, and I'm actually going to show you what's inside the closed doors. Now, most of our homeschool stuff is in these, so I'm going to be showing you kind of an overview of how I have things laid out, as well as some of our favorites. And then we do have like a few books as well that I'm going to show you because we're very literature based, so I want to show you some of our favorites. Let's just jump in. So over here we have our Royal Diaries, Dear Canada, and I Am Canada series. These are all based on historical events. We have our Little House series books, and we have the Bobbsey twins, which I think Reka read one of them, and I'm not sure, she wasn't the hugest fan, I don't think, but they are a blast from the past for me. So I'm keeping these, and I would like to reread one of them someday just for my own personal enjoyment. And then we have the Christian Heroes Then and Now series. I love these books. These are different, obviously, heroes in Christian history, and I collect them whenever I can find them. I have a friend who actually, if she finds them in thrift stores, she will grab them for me and text me and be like, hey, do you have this one? And if I don't, she picks it up for me, which is awesome. Then on the top here, we have just kind of like general middle grade books for the most part. Reka can grab any of these and read them now. There are a few we have downstairs that are like older middle grade that I don't have up here. And then we also do have more books sprinkled on other bookshelves for them, but this is kind of just part of our homeschool section. Over here a little bit we have a few more books. Little Pilgrim's Progress, we really enjoy this one. Then I have a few of these like Lamplighter edition books, and they're audiobooks. They're really well done. With very good morals and values, but they're from like the 1800s. This one's 1890, and they've been republished into these like gorgeous editions. Then just a few other random books over here, and yeah, I'll kind of show you. Right over here I have kind of like the toddler has his toys and things, and then we will go into the cupboards. So originally I had books in these three little shelves here, and then the toddler came and kind of took over for himself. So I have a little basket here where he usually has his Hot Wheels cars when they're not here or scattered throughout the entire house. And I want to get him a few more different educational things, which I will be putting here as well. Okay, over here we have our speaker, which we use a lot for meal times, listening to our audiobooks. And then I just have some big craft popsicle sticks and plastic cups from the dollar store. The kids use those all the time for different like stacking activities and things, just to play. We have our pencil sharpener, and then random pencils, erasers, the works in there. In here we have crayons and pencil crayons. This basket has all sorts of different manipulatives and cards and random things. Actually, in here, this was a game called Nabbit, which I ended up getting rid of the game, but I kept all the letters because they're kind of just like Scrabble letters, except they connect together. So I thought those would be fun for the kids to use. Over here we have the Brain Quest cards. I have all the way from preschool up to I think grade 3. When the kids are younger, they enjoy those. Then over here, this is kind of my section. I have my pens and highlighters for my Bible journaling and study, as well as some gel Bible highlighters in here. I just barely started this morning and evening book by Spurgeon. And then in here I have my ESV study Bible, my 1 line a day journal. This is my prayer notebook. This is a composition notebook with some Bible study notes that I've been taking. This is a study that I did, it was back in the fall, and really enjoyed. Random little pictures Ephraim drew for me. And then in this notebook, I have been using this as my scripture writing journal or notebook. Okay, on the bottom shelf here we have a basket of markers as well as my daughter's watercolor kit here. Then these are mostly coloring books. There's a little bit of paint with water, And then we've got a bunch of dry erase books, a lot of the Usborne Wipe Clean ones. We've been collecting these for a number of years, and they're really good from like anywhere from toddler up into the first few years of school. So that's that area. And then this is the toddler's books. He's not very gentle with them right now, so when he gets a little better, I'll put them on the shelf next to here. That's his, but for now they're kind of tucked away and he can use them when I'm watching him. This is the girls' book of adventure. I have the boys' book as well, and I currently don't know where it is, but it has a ton of different activities that my kids have gone through and marked that we can do together. There's some different fact books that I've gotten from the dollar store, National Geographic Kids book. These are my kids' memory verse books. They're Bible journaling books. We haven't been Bible journaling for a number of months, but I really enjoyed it when we were. It's my daughter's, so she sometimes just writes and sometimes she'll draw pictures to go with it. So those are good. And then I've got my Charlotte Mason companion, because even though we don't follow the Charlotte Mason method, I would always still love to, but it just doesn't really work for us. But I still like reading that. There's some random activity books. Over here, these are our sketchbooks. And then this is the 24 Family Ways, a family devotional guide by Clay Clarkson, who is Sally Clarkson's husband. We started going through this last summer, but it was a little above my kids, so I've put it off until they're a bit older. But it seemed like it would be a really good resource. Okay, here's the other cabinet. Now, full disclosure, I totally went in and reorganized this yesterday. And it wasn't solely for the sake of this video. I reorganized it so that I could find things better. I had just like thrown things in here before. So kind of over here is our history resources. We have Usborne Encyclopedia of World History, which honestly we haven't used much yet, but maybe we will eventually. I really like, this book is a church history book. This is volume 1, and I think there's like 6 volumes now. Goes through different time periods. These are our books that are too big to go up and down. So there's a little bit of history, a little bit of science, a little bit of math, and then more history down here. So this one is cool because it gives you the time period, and then it goes through different places in the world, and it tells you what was happening during that time period in the world. This How Things Work book is really good. We have a similar one, which actually it's on our coffee table. I'm gonna quickly grab it. I bought this book for my son for his birthday here a couple weeks ago, and he has been looking at it so much, that's why it's on the coffee table. It just goes through all sorts of different science things, and he can't even read everything in it, but he's constantly poring over it. We had gotten this book from the library so many times I knew it was time to buy it. Then over here, this is kind of our math section, other than we have the geography encyclopedia here as well, because I don't really have a separate geography section. So we have everything you need to ace math. We haven't used this one yet, but I wanted to have this as a resource for when my kids are a little older. I love Laura Overdeck's books. We have Bedtime Math 2 and How Many Guinea Pigs Can Fit on a Plane. This one just goes through little stories, scenarios, and then has math questions related to it. So this is really good for anywhere from, I'd say like pre-kindergarten up until grade 5 or 6. And then we now have this one, which is for a little bit older kids. We haven't used it yet, but it has a lot of division, multiplication, that kind of thing. So it's for a little bit older. Greg Tang was an author I was introduced to when I was in university to be a teacher, and he's got cool little poems that have to do with math, like different ways to count the seahorses. And whenever I find his books in used thrift stores or used bookstores, I buy them. And then I also like this Extreme Dot to Dot book. So this, I think this one goes over both pages. They also have some puzzles that are only one page. Usually I photocopy them for my kids, but apparently this kid got to it before I figured that out. So there's answer keys in the back, and some of these have like 1,000 dots, 690 dots, so they're pretty intensive. Our biggest book collection by far, based on subject, is a science. So this is all of our science stuff. Let's see, let's pull out a few of the cool ones. This is 100 Things in Nature from Usborne, and it just goes and names all the different things. This is fruit, leaves, and seeds. Food from nature. Under the Sea. It's a cool little book. I also like their big picture book. This is the outdoors. So it talks about fields and things that you can find there. Seas and cliffs. Different kinds of birds. I also like their flap books. This one is See Inside Space. So it has different flaps, as well as this one opens up. And then there's different flaps underneath here. So there's a lot of information stored in a pretty little book. This is the Nature Journal book by Kristen Rogers that I got from Wild and Free. And I love following her on Instagram. She's just got beautiful photos, and I love the way her family does nature journaling. And she has a class now too that you can take online. So yeah, that's a cool little book. I like the Firefly Encyclopedia of Animals because it has different, little bit on a bunch of different animals. So if you want to go more in depth after you find out your little bit of information, you can. But it's a really good resource. This is the Watercolor with Me in the Forest book. She also has In the Ocean and possibly another one now too. So it's just little information on how to watercolor, and then something to watercolor. She's got it traced out here already. Yeah, so there's all sorts of cool things to do. Yeah, we've got all sorts of more Usborne books. Here's a science question book. These are backyard birding flashcards. Little flashcards on the different kinds of birds, where they are found and where they migrate. I really like these. These are our bird books. Handbook of Nature Study, which I bought, gave to a friend, rebought, and still haven't really used. But I've decided this summer is the summer that I use it. So you need to hold me accountable to that. And then, I'm pretty sure every homeschooling family has this book. I love this one. And she just came out with Ocean Anatomy too. I haven't bought it, or the Farm Anatomy, or there's also a food one. But we use this as a bit of a resource guide too. It's also really good if you want to know how to draw something and you're terrible at it like I am. It's really easy to kind of like follow along and use this as a guide. And then over here is mostly our art stuff. We have a bunch of drawing books. These are drawing animals by shape. This is just cartoon characters by shape. Usborne step-by-step drawing book. This has space for you to like actually draw in here, but we always just draw on our own paper. This is a bit of a younger Usborne drawing book that has slightly easier things to draw. My kids use these a lot when they're making birthday cards and stuff for people. And then we've got two Lego books, Lego Chain Reactions and Gadgets. So there's different things to create. And then they have the pieces in there. Now we just have them in a bag over here. Okay, one more shelf. Okay, so this is the bottom shelf in that cabinet. So this is kind of like our language arts section. I have the brick Shakespeare books, which are Lego Shakespeare plays, or Shakespeare plays told in Lego form. My daughter said they're still a little difficult because they do have like the these and thous, but I think that'll be an interesting introduction to Shakespeare. I've got some of the Usborne, like write your own story book. Has a bunch of different prompts. And gives you lots of ideas. We also have the comic one. I have Grammarland. This is a fun way to introduce grammar to kids. Things like nouns and articles and pronouns, they're actually people and they're in court, and kind of explains them in a fun way. Stay. I showed you a Lamplighter book already. These are 2 Lamplighter theater audio dramas that we have. Highly, highly, highly recommend them. They are so good, and I need to talk about them more because more people need to listen to them, and I want to buy more. I have these 2 plus one more that is, 1 or 2 more that are just, I don't have the CDs for, I just have the download for. They're so good. Then we have the English Language Arts Big Fat Notebook, like we had our math one. A Spanish, Easy Spanish from Usborne. This is my daughter's microscope in here. And then I've been saving pill bottles for collecting different specimens. These are random workbooks that I bought over the years that we really no longer use, but I'm just keeping them just in case for whatever reason. Way at the top of our shelf here we have the Maps book and the Usborne Big Picture Atlas. Those are way up there because they're too big. They stick out on the bookcase, so unfortunately they're not easily accessible for the kids, but we love those, and one of them on the shelf. And then also we have lots of our games up there. Some of these the kids play, some they don't. Actually, we mostly play almost all of them as a family. And we even have more in that corner. I hope you enjoyed this look into our homeschool cupboards and some of our books. If there's anything else homeschool related that you would like to see me do a video on, just let me know and I'll probably do it.